Once upon a time, in the vibrant village of Robu, a place where humans and magical creatures lived in harmony, there was a man named James. He was famous not only for his impressive handsomeness, but also for his calm and gentle nature, which made him deeply admired by everyone in the village. But James was no ordinary man. He was a creature of deep mystery, born from the ocean's depths, a prince of the marine world. His beauty was both charming and scary, captivating all who seen him. His parents, King and Queen of the Ocean Kingdom, were wise and feared among their kind. They ruled the seas with huge power, and their only son, James, was destined to inherit the throne. Though they loved him dearly, they forbade him from venturing too close to the human world. But James had always been different. From a young age, he felt an irresistible pull toward the human world. His mother noticed that sometimes he would escape the depths of the ocean and venture to the surface. His mother often warned him, "My son, the human world is not for us. Humans are fragile and dangerous, quick to fear what they do not understand. Stay in your world, for your destiny lies beneath the sea, not among mortals. If your father finds out that you visited the human world, he will be angry with you." Despite her warnings, James found himself unable to resist the attraction of the human world. Time and again, he would slip away from the ocean's depths, rising to the surface. In his spirit form, he floated through the water like a waves, undetected by the humans sailing above. However, once he stepped ashore, his transformation would begin. His body glowed and changed, taking on the appearance of a man, handsome beyond compare, with a magnetic presence that captivated all who laid eyes on him. He would occasionally visit the marketplace, engaging in conversations and effortlessly making friends. The locals admired his intelligence and enigmatic appearance. He often bought food from the vendors, enjoying the taste of human dishes. He felt a deep affection for the people and took great pleasure in the vibrant, welcoming atmosphere. The villagers knew him by many names, but none truly knew who or what he was. They only saw the handsome stranger who appeared from nowhere. The girls of the village often stared at him, some whispering to themselves about how handsome he was. A few even gathered the courage to approach him, asking with shy smiles, "Would you like me to be your girlfriend?" He always smiles and walks away. One day, as he wandered along the edges of the village, James encountered a girl of extraordinary beauty. She was a vision that captivated him instantly. Her smile spread comfort, like the sun breaking through after a storm. For the first time, James felt something deeper than curiosity. He felt love. Over the following days, James found himself returning to the village more frequently, irresistibly drawn to her. Mariama worked at the local market, her hands fast as she arranged fruits and grains. But it wasn't just her beauty that captivated him, it was her spirit. She was kind, with a heart open to everyone she met. At first, he watched her from a distance, captivated by the way she interacted with those around her. Yet, despite his growing feelings, he lacked the courage to tell her how deeply she had touched his heart. One day, as fate would have it, James finally gathered the courage to approach her. Mariama sat down to arrange his fruit for sale. She felt a touch on his shoulder. She looked up and saw a gentle man standing by her side. He had a warm smile and gentle eyes. "My name is James," he said. "Hi, I am Mariama," she replied. "What can I do for you, sir?" "I like you," James said nervously. "You're new around here," Mariama remarked with a smile. In that moment, James felt an increase of emotions that he had never known. "I am," he responded, his voice soft and melodic. "I come and go, like the wind." They both laugh. "What brings you to our little market?" Mariama asked. James hesitated for a moment. "I wanted to explore, to see what life is like here. But mostly, I came to meet someone. Like you," he said, his heart pounding in his chest. Mariama's cheeks blushed. "You certainly picked the right place," she said. "Every fruit here tells a story, just like every person." "I'd love to hear those stories," James replied, his nerves beginning to ease as he felt a connection with her. "Maybe you can tell me over a fruit." Mariama smiled. "What's your favorite?" "Anything sweet," he replied. "Just like you." With a laugh, Mariama reached for a ripe mango and handed it to him. "This is for you. Consider it a welcoming gift." They spoke for hours, their conversation flowing effortlessly. James had lived for centuries, but in Mariama company, he felt something he had never experienced. She made him feel human in a way that the endless depths of the ocean never could. Day after day, they spent time together, and James found himself falling deeper in love. For the first time in his life, the pull of the human world was no longer just a curiosity, it was unavoidable. Weeks turned into months, and soon, James could no longer imagine a world without Mariama. She was everything he had ever desired in the human realm, kind, beautiful, and completely unaware of his true nature. But every day he spent with her, he knew he was running from his fate, defying the life that had been laid out for him in the oceans. That night, James made his decision. He would forsake his marine kingdom, abandon his royal family, and defy his family's warnings. He would choose love, even if it meant turning his back on everything he had ever known. But love, as James would soon learn, comes with consequences. Before he could fully commit to his new life with Mariama, James returned to the sea one last time, to bid farewell to his parents and his world. He approached his parents. "Mom, Dad, I love you both very much, but I have found love in the human world. I like her, and I want to live my life in the human world with her." "My son," her mother whispered, "if you leave us for the human world, there will be no return. You will be cursed, and you will suffer for this choice." His father, as ever, was more hit. "You defy the ocean, James. You defy your lineage and your destiny. We will not bless this union. If you choose to stay with her, you will never have a child, and happiness will forever get away from you." Despite the warnings, James' heart was too full of love for Mariama to listen to their words. He swam toward the shore, leaving behind the only world he had ever known. As he did, his parents' curse echoed through the deep, following him like a shadow. James and Mariama were married in a grand ceremony that brought the village to life. The air was filled with music, laughter, and the scent of fresh flowers. People gathered from near and far to witness their union. The village welcomed them with open arms, and James quickly became part of the community. Despite whispers and curious looks, most villagers admired him for his kindness and devotion to Mariama. But not everyone was convinced. Some villagers had doubts about James, sensing something different about him that they couldn't quite place. For a time, they were happy. But soon, the curse began to take hold. They tried for years to have a child, but Mariama's womb remained barren. The joy that had once filled their home slowly faded, replaced by frustration and hopelessness. James began to feel the weight of his parents' curse. Whispers from the ocean reached him in his dreams, reminding him of the price he had paid for defying his lineage. Desperate to lift the curse, James visited Shanti. Shanti was a powerful ancient seer known for helping those yearning to change their fate. James knelt before her sacred altar, begged her to free him from the curse. Shanti appeared in a soft glow form, listened to James' request. "I can lift the curse, James," she spoke. "But removing it will not come without a price. Are you willing to pay it?" Without hesitation, he agreed. Shanti raises her hand, and ancient symbols begin to glow in the air around them, swirling like enchanted runes. Soon after, Mariama became pregnant. The joy that had once escaped them returned, but with it came strange dreams and haunting visions. Mariama would wake in the middle of the night, trembling, feeling as though something or someone was watching her. In her sleep, she found herself standing on the edge of the ocean, calling to her with supernatural attraction. She awoke in the middle of the night, trembling, a cold sweat sticking to her skin. "It's just the dreams, my love," James reassured her, but deep down, he knew. The price for lifting the curse had not yet been fully paid. When their son was born, a handsome boy with eyes as deep and blue as the ocean, James experienced a moment of peace. But one day, as he gently cradled his newborn in his arms, something strange occurred. The baby's eyes began to glow, Their brightness increased until the entire room was heavenly light. James knew immediately what it meant. The glow was a sign his son had inherited the power of the sea, the very force that flowed through his own veins. A deep unease settled within him. He had hoped to protect his son from the fate that had bound him to the ocean. One quiet evening, as the last traces of sunlight faded from the sky, James sat outside his house, lost in thought, thinking his next move. Suddenly, a cold blow cleared through the night, and his father appeared before him. "We know you have brought a son into this world," he said. His voice echoed, "That child belongs to us. I will not give you my son." His voice trembled with a mixture of fear and defiance. "He is my flesh and blood." The spirit of his father floated closer, his eyes glowing with a strange, otherworldly light. "You defied the ocean, James. You turned your back on your true lineage, and now your child bears the burden of your choices. He is bound to the sea by blood and by fate. Surrender the boy or suffer the consequences." He vanishes into the night. After hearing his father's warning, James decided to run away with his family to safety. He told his wife that they need to leave the village immediate. "Why do we have to leave so suddenly?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I'll explain later," James replied urgently. "We need to go now." Just as they were about to step out of the house, a powerful force stopped them in their tracks. James' father appeared, surrounded by the full force of the marine world. The air crackled with energy as waves seemed to crash around them. "Give us the child," his father demanded, his voice booming like thunder. "I will not," James shouted, standing protectively in front of his family. His breathed in terror, backing away. In an instant, both James and his father transformed into massive pythons, their scales shining. The ground shook as they clashed, their bodies coiling and striking with incredible speed and power. Mariama screamed in shock, stumbling backward, her breath coming in sharp cut. The villagers, hearing her cries, rushed out of their homes. They stopped in their tracks when they saw the two massive serpents rapping and striking in a vicious battle. Fear gripped their hearts as they realized the truth. James, one of their own, was not just a man. He was something far more terrifying, a serpent. As the battle raged on, with James and his father exchanging powerful blows. Just when it seemed that James began to tire, his movements slowing, his breath ragged. His father seized the moment, landing a crushing blow to James' chest, knocking him to the ground. His son, still in Mariama's arms, began to glow with an ethereal light. The baby's eyes shone brightly, and a surge of energy emanated from him, enveloping his father. Strength flooded his body, and the pain in his body melted away. James fought back, his strikes becoming more accurate and powerful. The villagers watched in wonders as the battle reached its climax. James unleashed his full strength in a destructive strike. His father, eyes wide in shock, before vanishing away. He defeated his father. Breathing heavily, James transformed back into his human form and rushed to Mariama, who was still holding their glowing son. The villagers, though still fearful, began to murmur among themselves, realizing that James had fought to protect his family. Mariama looked at James, her eyes filled with questions. "What just happened?" she asked. James took a deep breath, holding her and their son close. "I'll explain everything," he said softly. "But for now, we are safe." The chief, upon hearing the news, summoned James and his family to the village square, which was crowded with anxious villagers. With a face warped in anger and disgust, the chief stood and declared, "This abomination cannot remain among us. He and his child must be banished to protect our village." The crowd murmured in agreement, some stepping back in fear of James' presence. Just as the chief raised his hand to finalize the judgment, a commanding voice from the edge of the crowd shouted, "Stop." All eyes turned to see the village oracle. Leaning on his staff, he walked straight to the chief. "Do not be so quick to banish him," the oracle warned. "If you do, our village will be doomed. James' power is a blessing, not a curse. The gods have chosen him to protect us, and his child is the key to our survival." The chief, after a tense moment, he nodded and announced, "James will stay." not as a threat, but as a guardian. Tears filled James' eyes as he realized the oracle had given him and his family a new path. He walked home with his family. The story of James echoed across towns and villages, showing how Marine Prince became a father and a guardian. Please subscribe for more.